Hey guys, and welcome to Inside the Fight, brought to you by New Hope Regeneration. And today's guest is Travis the Mantis Thomas. Travis is a professional martial artist, up and coming pro, in the finals of Subversiv coming up in September, a PGF fighter, MMA, but more importantly, Travis is going to give you a roadmap for all you up and comers on how to be successful in the fight world. Stay tuned and strap in. The episode starts now. Hey guys, welcome back to the New Hope Regeneration Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Sparks, and today I have a very special guest, Travis the Mantis Thomas. Welcome to the Inside the Fight Podcast, brought to you by New Hope Regeneration. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well, Chris. How are you doing?
Man, I'm living out loud and on purpose, brother. So
I heard that.
So you're one of the guests that I've been so excited to get on the show. So I want to thank you first and foremost for taking time. I'm a fan. I'm following your career, and I got to meet you out in California at Subversiv at the last event. And so I want our audience and our viewers to learn. Tell us about the Mantis. What's the origin story and what got you into martial arts, and then now you're a top high level professional martial artist, killing the game. So tell the audience how we got here.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It was super nice to meet you, and I love everybody at New Hope. So it's awesome to come on here and get to share my story. I've been into sports and athletics pretty much my whole life. I started playing baseball around 5 years old. Started playing football when I got into high school. And then I ended up, my first martial arts experience would be I started wrestling my senior year of high school. We didn't have a wrestling program at the school. I had just mentioned wanting to try to wrestle to my football coach. And he was like, yeah, I'll see if I can't set it up. He ended up setting it up. I had 11 matches. I went 10-1. I got invited to sectionals or regionals, whatever it's called, and we had like messed up paying some kind of payment to the state, so I got disqualified from doing that. So that was like the end. Really short-lived martial arts career. I went on to play college football at a really small NAIA school up in Kentucky, Kentucky Christian University. I played a year. I flunked out of school, and then I played a year of arena football, and I felt like there was a lot of politics and stuff involved in that, so I came back home and just started working. I ended up working for a welding and pipe fitting company, and I was trying to figure out how I could get out to Texas, trying to make a bunch of money. And a buddy of mine had just mentioned, like, hey man, before you give up on your athletics career, how about you go to 10th Planet Decatur and try mixed martial arts. He's like, I think that if you wanted to fight, you would probably be really good at it. So I was like, screw it, I'll give it a shot. I saved up some money. I quit work. I went into the gym and told him, like, hey, I want to try to fight in the UFC, and if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna really do it. So we started there. I did jiu-jitsu for about 6 months. I probably did 20 to 30 jiu-jitsu events at white belt. Then I had my first MMA fight 6 months in. I won by 23-second TKO. I had my next fight 2 months later. I won by armbar in about a minute. And then I had my third fight a couple months after that against the number one ranked amateur in the Southeast, and I went to decision and lost by decision. And, figured out that cardio is going to be a big part of the martial arts journey. So, had a couple more fights, tried to go pro, hadn't been able to make my pro debut, just cancellations or not good timing. And then, man, honestly, whenever PGF Season 5 popped up, this is when I was trying to make my pro debut, and Brandon had just said, like, hey, dude, I think that you should do the PGF. It's your career, it's your choice, but I think that you can do a lot of things in jiu-jitsu. So I did the PGF. Then I got onto Combat Jiu Jitsu Worlds, and then I got onto Subversiv. And yeah, now we're
Dude,
here, man.
that's incredible. So you talked about, heading back home. So for the audience, tell people where's home.
So I live in Decatur, Alabama.
Awesome. That is, so you train out of 10th
Yeah,
Planet Decatur, right? So got that's a
correct.
murderer's row of individuals there. So that's awesome, brother. You got an amazing gym. So talk to me about, that you went from arena football, clearly you're built to be a pro athlete, but just didn't find your sport. So now what about, jiu-jitsu has you planting your flag like this is my sport and I'm gonna go compete at the highest level?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem that I ran into playing team sports was that I always was on the team that seemed like they didn't have a lot of motivated players. Not that we were lacking in skill always, maybe it was lacking in coaching, but it always seemed like we just lacked in motivated players. And while I feel like I always gave my best and was a standout athlete, it was kind of hard to make a name for myself in something that I was always losing at. I think jiu-jitsu and MMA, while it's like a solo sport, you also need a team behind you to practice, but the fact that it's a solo sport just gives me a chance to go out there and show that I am putting in the work and I don't have to rely on other people. I just have to make sure that I get up every day, I go train, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And when it comes time to, compete, I get to go out there and show what I've really been working on.
Dude, phenomenal answer, phenomenal, man. So you talked about BMAC recommending for you to do the PGF. What did you do first? Did you find yourself with a PGF match first, or was Subversiv your first exposure?
So it was the PGF. The PGF is actually where I met Michael from Subversiv. He's like the co-owner. Yeah, yeah. He came down for the PGF to watch it. Subversive had sponsored or like helped sponsor with the PGF, and yeah, after that week, Mike was like, "Yo, dude, if you want to come compete on Subversive, come on." And he had like had Nakia Jackson on there before, so he
Yeah.
kind of knew about the gym. He obviously knows Brandon. But yeah, the PGF was first, and then Subversive was second.
That's awesome. So for the viewers that don't know, let's start with the PGF. What do you love about the PGF and what is it for those that don't know? Tell the audience, about this organization because I truly believe it is going to be the number one grappling organization in the world very soon, along with Subversive. I think both of those guys, I mean, are really the trailblazers. So tell everybody about your experience with PGF and what do you love about it?
Yeah, so the PGF is the Professional Grappling Federation. It's owned by Brandon McCatherine, the owner of 10th Planet Decatur, Keelan Lawler, which is Brandon's camera guy. Not just camera guy, but that's how you would know him. And then Zoltan Baffery, Five Finger Death Punch guy. So crazy setup right there. But the PGF is probably, I don't know stats, but I would say probably one of the fastest growing jiu-jitsu promotions probably in the world. It is a season style. I mean, it like Brandon says, it's everything you love about sports plus jiu-jitsu. You have a preseason to where there's qualifiers to get into the season. There's a draft where coaches pick teams. Then there's an actual season where each player goes against more like all the other players throughout a week, 15 match or 12 matches in a week. And then there is a postseason tournament to where the winners or the highest scorers of the season get to battle it out in an 8-man bracket for PGF World Championship. Whenever I did it, it was $1,000 for the winner of the season, so the highest point scorer, and then $1,000 to win the tournament. The season after mine, it went to $20,000 for so $100,000 to the team that won. So each player got $20,000, and then $20,000 to the winner of the tournament.
And this year, New Hope Regeneration added regenerative cellular therapy to the winning team, so that those guys got to receive therapy on the winner.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah.
So that's
Okay. Nice. Yeah.
BMAC. Yeah, you can thank BMAC for that. He worked with
Absolutely.
Hope and Kevin, and that's now That just happened in this last season to sweeten the pot. So think of that.
Wow.
You got a grappling tournament that kicks off, and there was prize money the first time you showed up, and then they increase it 20-fold, and then they add regenerative cellular therapy to the winning team to add to the prize purse. I don't know about you, but I don't know of any other grappling organization that's doing that right now in the world.
Yeah, no, I don't either. Yeah, honestly, so when I first started at the gym, they were doing PGF season 3, I want to say, to where they were still doing all of the weekly matches in the gym, and then the finale was in the church. So it's most definitely grown 20-fold since I have started. But what I do love about the PGF is, man, it's just such a good opportunity for an athlete to showcase his skills. It's 12 matches, win or lose. You get to do them all. You get paid before you even show up. I think my season we did a draft, like an auction draft, so you got paid depending on who put more money in the auction. I think this year they just did $1,000 per athlete, and you get it before you show up, like before you compete. So, I mean, that's crazy. But like I said, for me, it's awesome that you get 12 matches with 12 different people over a week time. It really like weeds out the people who don't train for it. So you can not only showcase like your skills, but you can also showcase how hard you work in the gym. And I think that's super important. That shows a super valuable set of skills to not only be awesome in technique and jiu-jitsu, but be able to go out there 5 days in a row and compete at the same level every day.
I mean, incredible. And I love, like, it truly, they are providing, a professional atmosphere, it sounds like, for athletes to really have a complete career. It's amazing. Yeah. So for individuals that want to learn more about it, where would they find out if they want to get involved, they want to compete? What would you recommend to those up-and-comers? Like, my son is 16, and, like, he follows you. We watch your videos every night almost, right? So that's right. You're helping trailblaze that next generation. My time has been done. So, I've transitioned. So how do we help my son? Where do these young guys go to find, the PGF?
Yeah. You can go to pgfworld.com. That's probably going to be your best source of all that information. Egghead Warrior on Instagram, Brandon McCaffrin on Instagram, Wallow J on Instagram, me on Instagram. I think all those are pretty good sources to funnel you to the PGF. Or Zoltan Baffery, he'd probably be the easiest to find. You just type in Zoltan, he'll pop up everywhere.
So now talk about that. The next part was, Subversiv working closely with the PGF, right? It's like they're cousins, essentially. So what was your experience like with Subversiv, and what do you love about Subversiv?
Man, I think that Combat Jiu Jitsu is probably my favorite form of Jiu Jitsu or martial arts in the whole. I really like MMA. I think it's super, super fun to go out there and fight another individual. I think that it's a really hard pool of people to get somewhere with. It's sometimes hard to start up. You have like a couple different ways to do things. A couple of the guys just want to fight because they like putting it on Facebook. A couple of the guys want to fight and make it to the UFC, and a couple of the guys want to fight because they like fighting. Well, when you're a guy of pretty high talent and you're winning, usually the other guys that are winning and are of pretty high talent don't want to fight either because they want to, hold on to the record. And then the guys who aren't that good, that are just doing it to do it, don't want to fight because they don't want to get beat up like that. So I feel like MMA is a hard pool. Jiu-Jitsu is super awesome and everybody's always willing to do it. But then you add the slaps and it kind of just, it makes it more... Jiu-Jitsu doesn't seem very scary to go out there and just start rolling around with somebody. Even if you are going to get beat, you can tap out super quick and it's not like any real consequences to doing things. Combat Jiu-Jitsu brings in an aspect of like, if you don't move, you're going to get smacked in the face. And I really enjoy that I can smack people in the face, but I have consequences for moves that I don't do correctly.
So those that are new, that never heard of this before, talk to them. Subversiv is Combat Jiu Jitsu. Can you explain the rule set to the audience, please?
Yeah, so combat jujitsu is jujitsu, but when one opponent is grounded, so either on his butt or on his knees or on the ground, you can throw open palm strikes. That's either a slap or like a kung fu punch with your palm.
Dude,
So
incredible.
yeah,
And now you think about the excitement. What I love about Subversive is the atmosphere in the venue is nothing like you've ever experienced, because it's what you said. You
yeah,
get the adrenaline of being at cage side, but there's no cage. It's open. You get to see, you're up
hmm,
close with these professional athletes. And for me,
yeah,
what other sport can you go and then hang out with the pro athletes afterwards, take pictures, talk to them, or even sign up and
yeah,
call them out and go compete? Like, so I think
yeah.
what Subversive is doing is phenomenal. What do you like best about it?
Yeah, so like I said, I like the combat jujitsu aspect of it for sure. I think that Michael and Josh Beck is the other owner of Subversive. I think that they have a pretty solid core of people that they bring on to the staff, whether it's the commentary, like last time we had Brandon McCaffrin, Robin Black, and Kendall
Yeah,
Roosing, or
champ.
however he's. Yeah, so like super cool staff, super cool people to work with. They most definitely are looking out for the athletes. It's kind of hard to ruin an atmosphere of jujitsu competition or martial arts competition. Martial arts holds its own value, so it's hard to ruin it. But the thing that can ruin it, I think, is shitty promoters or people that really don't care about the athletes. And Michael and Josh do a really good job of making sure that the athletes are taken care of. So
I think
really, really good people.
you just hit the head on the nose, champ. You just said it, right? What I witnessed personally, firsthand, hanging out with Robin Black poolside, watching Michael cook food for people, Josh themselves,
Yeah,
the athletes, right? With Mark, I was with Mark,
yeah,
and we were there, and I felt this camaraderie because they truly care about the athletes. They really want to provide
yeah.
you guys a professional experience. So that's phenomenal. I want to go back to your gym because you said Kaya trains out of your gym. Got the pleasure to watch her live, talked with her, world champ. I mean, she's incredible. So, what talked about your specific gym? What are some things that you guys makes you unique, the 10th Planet system, and what you're doing down there at Decatur?
Well, I think the 10th planet system is pretty unique in its own. Something that the 10th planet system offers that I don't think a lot of gym offers is just kind of an open mind to allowing people to play how they want to play. It's not set up to where, I don't know if all gyms are like this, but my gym especially, there's no like, we have class times, obviously. Classes start at this time and rolling basically starts this time, but it's no obligation that you have to show up to class on time. Obviously, don't show up late and be loud, but like there's a lot of free range to just be an artist. I think people forget that like martial arts, while it is some respect and honor, like the artist part is an individual thing, and all artists are different. Some artists get rejuvenated by sitting in a dark room and not talking to no one, and some artists, you know, get more out of being in a loud room with tons of people. I think the same thing applies to martial arts, that some students of the game can get a lot out of coming to a class and listening to somebody talk, like Eddie Bravo talks a lot in his seminars, or some people get more out of coming to the seminar that there's not a lot of talking, there's no teaching, and it's a lot of just doing. So our gym offers a super relaxed state to where come do what you want. Like the only thing that we want is for people to get better. We're looking at skill development. So that's one cool thing about our gym or the 10th planet system. But also we have like, I mean, Brandon for sure is one of the best teachers in the jiu-jitsu system. And then Matt Scaff under him, who's my coach. I mean, he's not known about for real by everybody in the community, but I would say that Scaff is not far or exactly the same as Brandon. They both are very intelligent. I've never met somebody that studied more film than Scaff. He's always at the gym looking up new things. So we have two really good coaches, and then I feel like we have, with the relaxed atmosphere, we have a little bit of like a pretty good competition class. Not necessarily like our competition class is highly skilled or anything, but everybody who competes in our gym brings a good competition to the mats.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are allowing for creative freedom, and I
Yeah.
love that. What a great description. So guys, if you're in the Decatur area, man, stop in the 10th Planet. Ask for Travis the Mantis Thomas, man. But the names that he just listed, Google those guys, YouTube those guys. We're talking, the who's who in the martial arts. So
Yeah.
phenomenal murderers row there at the gym, brother. I was
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
man, I'd be in there every day, all day, just picking brains, right? Just in the lab.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so, what do you like about no? I mean, you talked about combat jujitsu. I'm with you. I'm an old school bare knuckle MMA guy. I was fighting back
Yeah.
in the day when it was just bare knuckle, right? And so
Yeah.
I love the slaps. So intriguing to me. And even I'm even considering coming off of retirement and maybe getting in there because what an equalizer, right? So
Yeah.
now, what do you love about no gi more than versus the gi? Because I think you spend a lot of time in the no gi, correct?
Yeah, so very untraditional of myself. I've never trained in a gi. I've had one opportunity to wear the gi. I signed up for a competition in the gi, and no one showed up in my weight class, so I wasn't able to do it. But if I had to just like put it in like why I think no gi is better than gi, I would say that sports wise, obviously neither is better than the other. They're both just sports. It'd be like saying football is better than baseball when they don't really compare because it's not the same things going on. I think that gi jujitsu, and I think a lot of people don't understand what I'm saying when I'm saying this, but it's easier in the sense that both players have an easier way to get grips, to hold on to their player. Like that's easier. The fact that it's easier for both players makes it hard in its own. Uh, I think that it's a super old school idea. They used the gi in Japanese jiu-jitsu because Japanese people were wearing the kimono and it resembled the kimono. So for like street fights, I think that no gi applies more to everyday life. But I Clay Mayfield is a black belt out of Triangle Academy in Nashville, and he always tries to get me to do gi jujitsu, and I think I'm getting more okay with the idea in that sometimes you can learn. So, like I said, football and baseball don't compare, but I think there's some aspects of each game that will transfer over to the opposite game. I think everything in life is full circle, and like there's a lot of things that bleed into other idea or other parts of the game.
Great answer, champ. I think that's phenomenal, and I think this is the question. It's to each their own, right? That like
Yeah,
train jujitsu, number one, right? We want you on the mat with us, but then you find
mm-hmm.
what you prefer, and you just listed the reasons of why you prefer. So you spend the majority of your professional time in nogi, which this all makes sense. I get so frustrated at the argument online, gi or no gi. It's completely different animals because it's what is the individual practitioner's goal. It's up to
Yeah,
you because what I think doesn't
yeah,
matter. It's what does my student or that new person that wants to try jujitsu. We just want them to come into class, right? And then you
correct.
listed some
Yeah,
great reasons. I would say I started nogi, and now I did 9 years nogi when I was fighting bare knuckle, and now I primarily
mm-hmm.
train in the gi because as I've
Mm,
had health challenges, right, and I'm 40 pounds lighter. I need those grips. So you're exactly
yeah,
right. That gives me a level playing field because I can't hang with you, Nogi. You know what I mean? I'm a black belt, but it doesn't matter. I'm humble enough to say,
yeah,
Nogi, I'm going to have a really tough day with you. But the gi allows
yeah,
me
yeah.
at black belt level to use technique and grips. And I
Correct.
think that's the beauty is we're both saying the same thing. Train jiu-jitsu, but
Yeah,
find what you love and then you spend the most of your time there because it's hard to do both,
yeah,
right? Like oh,
for
just
sure.
train both. Like I'm sure your schedule doesn't allow that, right, champ? You're pretty
Yeah,
regimented,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, if I was to pick, if there was a spot to have another training day, I just I don't know why I wouldn't train no gi.
Because it's what.
You know.
That's right.
But yeah, yeah. I also think though, if you want to be considered like the very best jiu-jitsu practitioner in the world, that it is probably best to compete in both of them. I think that once I start establishing myself in no-gi, I feel like there's a couple different avenues I would like to go. Either become so known at no-gi that I could say like, hey, I want to take a fight and Dana White gives me a Contender Series shot, or just be the best jiu-jitsu guy in the world. And then at this point, when I'm winning ADCC and stuff, I will also start training in the gi to try to win like gi worlds and IBJJF, or however you say that.
So we were talking earlier about your kind of professional journey, and talk to us about what's the ultimate goal. You just left off saying to be the best, grappler in the world. So paint the picture. What does success look like for Travis?
I would say that success probably can look a couple different ways. I think that the main goal will be just having a steady income that I can take care of my family with. I most definitely want to have a family. That's like one of the biggest goals I've ever had. Wife and some kids, little Travis is running around. I think in my martial arts journey, like I said, it could be I would love to fight in the UFC and try to become a world champion at that. I would also be just as satisfied with being a world champion in jiu-jitsu. But I think the two big goals are money for my family and then eventually opening up a gym so that I can give back to people like people have given to me. I think that it would be cool to become successful enough to give kids opportunities that that I've been looking for, I think that I've had tons and tons of help. I'm extremely blessed with all my sponsors, my family, whatever that may be, but still there's things that I need, and jiu-jitsu doesn't pay for that now. But if I could make it to a point to where I was able to fund some kids' journeys like that, I think that that would be super awesome. I'd feel super fulfilled to be able to do something like that.
Man, incredible. And New Hope Regeneration will be here helping you along the way. We're so proud, to have you as one of our athletes, and we want to help you in that process, on, of course, recovery journey. So let's talk about, like, you've done some damage to your body over the years, right? You've been treating yourself like a professional athlete since high school, right? We're wrestling, then collegiate, we're playing college sports, we go pro in arena football, and now you're a professional martial artist. That's going to take a toll. So talk to us a little bit about what was your experience like, how your body was feeling, and what was it with receiving regenerative cellular therapy. What has that done for you?
I most definitely have beat myself up over the years. Like during college or between college football and arena football, I did the competition cheer team in college as well. And I feel like I had a couple bumps and bruises there, a couple dislocations in my shoulders. Football, super banged up all the time, broken fingers. Baseball, always throwing my shoulder, my elbows out. And then kind of just pushed through and did what I could to keep on keeping on. At the PGF, I met New Hope, and we had talked a little bit. I just kept competing, and then in February of was it this year? Yeah, February of this year, I got my therapy. My wrist and my shoulders have really taken a beating from martial arts, from like punching and just from moving. And it got to the point to where I couldn't even do a push-up flat-handed because my wrists were so tight. And after therapy, probably about 3 months in, I'm able to do flat-handed push-ups. Obviously, my wrists aren't perfect, or my shoulders aren't perfect, but there's most definitely a lot more mobility and strength in those now. And I would have to give that to New Hope Regeneration for that. It's while I do train like a professional athlete, I eat like a professional athlete. Recovery is probably where I slack the most. So I haven't done much to do myself, so I would have to give it all up to New Hope.
Well, that's phenomenal, and it's just one piece. Like, you just said it. You have, you have to first be warrior, right? So we have to train, then we have to nourish, then we have to recover, right? Those three things and that's what you're doing. You're living that ethos, and I don't think most people that are not professional martial artists or athletes don't understand the regiment that you keep, right? I would say you're pretty disciplined in your schedule as far as your training routine.
Oh yeah. I do the same thing every week. Monday, cardio at 11, jiu-jitsu from 12 to 2, and then jiu-jitsu at night from 6 to 7:30. Tuesday, jiu-jitsu at noon, jiu-jitsu at 6. Wednesday's the same as Monday. Thursday's the same as Tuesday. Friday I teach. Saturday's open mat. And then if I go to see my girlfriend in Franklin, I hit an open mat on Sundays as well. And that's every week.
That's it, man. No days off in our sport, right? There's no off season in our sport, so that's a great schedule, man. And it's not luck that you're having the success that you're having. It's hard work, dedication. You're doing the grind, the discipline. You have the right attitude. You're living that martial way too. You're representing martial arts, as that warrior. So thank you for that, for the next generation, because kids are watching. Like I said, my two sons, 16 and 13, they do all of this. They do it all, and they want to be pros. So that's what's really exciting. I think we've seen the evolution where when I started, I was fighting bare knuckle, and I had to pay for my travel, my meals, my hotel, and my hospital bill. And now you're coming up, and PGF and Subversiv are flipping the game on its head, right? We're disrupting the industry. So imagine what it's going to be like for my 13 and 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Right? So I think your dream of one day giving back to that kid that's going to need it, that's, I think, what's happening. And, thank you for being a part of that process, because it takes guys like you to trailblaze so it's, again, better and more fruitful for the next guys coming behind you.
For sure.
So it's exciting stuff. Is there anything else you want to say to the audience, to your fans? I'm going to give you some time, man. It's all you. Any message you want to put out there? Have at it.
I got a couple of events coming up. I have a 32-man absolute tournament at the end of this month in Riverview, Florida for Mat Assassins. I have a super fight against Brad Snyder, a black belt out of Pedigo, August 4th. And then the 205, hopefully this is what it's looking like, the 205 Combat Jiu Jitsu belt for Subversiv in September, and then the 205 season of PGF in November. Those are my events coming up. If you like the content that I put out and would like more in-depth views from my brain and also Matt Scaff's, we have a Patreon, Scaff and the Mantis. You can follow me at all my socials at _the Mantis. Thank you to all my sponsors, New Hope being one. H&F is an auction company, G3 Solar, my buddy Darko Alias on Instagram, and then my family. Thank you guys, everybody. Most definitely, I am out here putting in the work, but it wouldn't be possible without all my people. So
phenomenal. So if you were talking to friends and family, what would you tell them about regenerative cellular therapy?
I would tell them that a lot of things that people tell you to do are just hoaxes. It's kind of like the CBD ointment, put it on, it makes you feel better. And I think that there's a lot of placebo effect to that if you believe in something enough that it does work. I think that therapy is something that you don't have to believe in for it to work. It's a process that is going to benefit you in more ways than one. I think that even if you have, say it's a back issue that you go to do it and you get therapy, I think you'll start realizing improvements in other aspects in your life as well.
Our clients find that it's smart medicine, so we can't tell it where to go, right? We can't say what it's going to fix, but you just said it. You're giving your body the opportunity to recover whatever projects that might be going on and things that you didn't even think. Was there anything that you noticed improve that you didn't realize that maybe was a lingering? And if not, that's fine. But I know for me, 9 months in, I had a bad shoulder. I broke my clavicle, separated my shoulder, torn my labrum, and 9 months in, out of nowhere, it was completely healed. So that was an unforeseen blessing that I didn't even think would be possible. So did you have any type of experience like that?
Yeah, like I said, I went in it for my shoulders and my wrist. And I think right off the bat, probably 2 months in, I had noticed that it had boosted my testosterone. Not into like a crazy, crazy amount where I just started gaining tons of weight. But when I was 19, I worked at a gym. This is like right after arena football going in, or right after college football going to arena football. I'd worked at a gym and got into doing testosterone with all the meatheads in there. And at 19, I think I probably ruined my testosterone. And so, like, it's not like I am a 70-year-old dude with zero testosterone, but there was most definitely days that I would wake up just not as motivated to train. And yeah, I texted Kevin like 2 months in and was like, yo, did you guys put testosterone in my stem cells? Because I am feeling great. And he was like, no, man, that's just, that's something that can happen with therapy. I looked into it more, and yeah, there's a lot of cases of that. So I'd say that was the underlying thing that I was like, oh, crap.
And now imagine, like you said, there was times where you weren't motivated to train, right? You're tired, fatigued, and then 2 months in, you're texting the co-founder, feeling all this energy and vigor. So you're exactly right. There's so many benefits of regenerative cellular therapy that people don't even realize, and it's really just educating them. I love the fact that we want to keep you healing faster to fight longer. Right?
For sure.
If you want to learn about the chicken or the egg, ask a farmer. But if you want tips and tricks, you got to go to the Mantis, right? He has one of the best Instagram pages out there, _the Mantis. Find him on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you want to get your media. And check him out at 10th Planet Decatur. Stop in for a class. If you're local, or even if you're not local, book a private lesson with him to learn some amazing top-level jiu-jitsu. And of course, if you want to learn about regenerative cellular therapy, please go to newhoperegeneration.com to learn more, or check us out on YouTube at Inside the Fight. You can see this podcast and many more. Please share, like, and subscribe. Guys, until next time, thank you to my guest, Travis, the man is Thomas. We wish you the best of luck at your next Subversiv, PGF, and all of the other fights that you had listed on this podcast. We can't wait to see your hand raised, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me.
By getting therapy through New Hope, I was able to overcome a lot of that issues that I had with my back and my knees.
I won the Euros in January just because of the recovery that was provided by New Hope.
New Hope that changed my life with this therapy.
You're not your diagnosis.
Seeing New Hope.
Ah.
What's the game change?